This is a recording for chapter 153 of the Promised Neverland manga review. Basically, the reason why I'm skipping ahead to chapter 153 is because I want to discuss one of the great character arcs that was done on this manga. Honestly, the main trio is their character developments are just fabulous. Ray's character development is phenomenal from volumes 1 to 7, and then it's Norman's turn when it began around volume 13 or 14. So almost like the dedication of this author or this mangaka to the character developments is divine. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. I really love how he let the characters grow as time goes by in the demon world and in Emma's world. So I want to discuss chapter 153. Let's begin with the cover chapter. We see Norman in that beautiful colored cover chapter sitting calmly and coolly, and then at the foreground of the chapter cover, I didn't realize when I was reading this the first time, but having read this for the second time, I realized that that's Emma and Norman. That's Emma and Ray. They were looking at Norman, who just recently massacred the entire demon royal clan, or the people in the royal capital, and then looking at that cover chapter. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's tragic, of course, but with the arc going in this direction, it just raises the stakes. That's just what I want to say. And I believe the reason why Emma and Ray's faces are not shown and only their backs are shown, or only their lower sides, is because maybe the reader or maybe the author wants to think, what would their faces be like? Maybe it's up to us, the readers, to put facial expression. So that's the reason why the mangaka did not put the facial expressions. It's hidden from the readers. As the readers, we want to think using our own imagination how Emma and Ray are looking at Norman at that cover chapter. So fabulous, phenomenal cover chapter. I love this. The title in the fan translation is Coward. So really interesting, because the series chapter titles are a hint to what's the chapter is going to cover, and Coward is one of the traits that is very recurring in this series, because you have to fight demons and you have to be brave, or if you cannot fight demons, then are you a coward, or are you frightened? What are you frightened of? And this emphasizes Norman's chapter or trait very much so, because he is able to kill and massacre the demons in the royal capital on his own, with the help of his comrades, of course. But at the same time, the chapter title contradicts his status as like the god, or the genius brain behind it all, the mastermind. So Emma and Ray found Norman, who just recently massacred or annihilated the demon royalty, and their bodies are splattered viciously on the floor, blood covered. Everyone's dead. Every demon is dead. No one's been spared, not even the slaves or the servants of the queen. Of course, Ray and Emma were shocked. Even the children demon mass were there. They were annihilated. They were one of the victims. Emma was furious, of course, but she just keeps going on, telling Norman, we forged the promise. Everybody can escape to the human world. Please stop with this extinction or annihilation. And then Norman, as we know at this point in the series, he's very cold. He became winter. He became ruthless because of the experiments that were done to him at Lambda. I am sorry, at the beginning I forgot to tell you at the beginning of this recording that there will be spoilers. If you haven't read chapter 153 if you haven't read chapter 153, or if you haven't gotten to volume 18, then please skip this, because there's a lot of spoilers in this session. So basically, because Norman, it's emphasized throughout the series, even in volume 4, in some side stories in there, or volume 5, that he has always been alone. And I think what the creators did is that they used that as a crutch to expand his character arc, to expand his story. And the reason why I love his character arc so much is because of the development that he goes through. It's not easy, because if you just massacred tons and tons of people or demons, whatever ethnicity or whatever race, and blood is in your hands, of course innocence is lost. That's one. Nobody would look up to you anymore. Your reputation is tainted. Even your best friends, like in Norman's case, his best friends might look down on him. Emma is shocked, Ray is shocked, Emma is furious, of course. And it's just that Norman stayed cold-hearted. He still refuses to give in to his soft heartedness or whatever. Even telling Emma, don't get in the way, Emma. How cruel is that? Because as we know, in the first arc of the series, he will do whatever he can for Emma. He will do whatever he can to save Emma or to protect Emma. But then in this case, the turning point in his character arc was when he chose to be shipped out. And when he chose that, he was really scared of dying. And so it really changed his persona 180 degrees, up to the point that he was transferred to Lambda 7214 and numerous experiments were done onto him. He's not the same Norman anymore. In that situation, if anybody, or if I myself am in that situation, I would do everything in my power to escape, to take revenge, on those people who hurt me, who hurt my friends or family. I understand Norman's point of view. I think that's one way that the mangaka or the creators is pointing it out. The creators, I think, want the readers to understand why Norman is doing this, helping us understand from Norman's perspective on why he needs to annihilate or exterminate or make the demons go extinct. And as we know, Emma is just saying, no, I refuse, I don't believe in war or bloodshed or slaughter. She has been consistent since day one, since the first few chapters of the Jailbreak arc series. She has been consistent, believing in the beauty of life, believing in survival, believing in saving everyone. She's just that phenomenal character. I think, because I don't read manga that much, but if I do, I really want to read those mangas where I can learn from the characters. And I think Emma is one of those characters that I admire so much, because she has this fullness, this unending or belief. Like, she has this belief, this overflowing belief of faith and belief in other people. No matter what anyone tells her, whether that's her best friend Norman or Ray, she's not gonna back down. She's not gonna yield to others' intentions just because they think that their opinion is right. She believes what she knows is right. She knows best that this is the right way, that we're getting rid of extermination or annihilation. That's not dissolution. And of course, Emma and Norman, they're arguing again. Despite Norman saying, I cannot go back, Emma is just pushing through that I've decided I won't let you sacrifice yourself again. I won't let you go at things alone again. So I think on one hand, I think Emma is trying to atone for her quote-unquote mistake of letting Norman be shipped on the Jailbreak series of the on the Jailbreak arc. And I think that's the reason why she does not want Norman to go on his own again, alone. Because if Norman carries this big burden of demon massacre, then of course that's gonna be heavy in terms of morality and personality. That's gonna be very heavy for that person carrying that burden. And I think that's what Emma is trying to tell Norman. I will not let you go at things alone. And she does, at this point, she does not trust him anymore. She is saying to him, I don't trust you anymore. I know you. We grew up together. What are you hiding? And so I think it's a turning point for their conversation. It's a turning point. Emma realizes that Norman has been lying to him. Well, she had already realized in previous chapters that he had lied to her, but this is a confrontation where she must believe all the way that she can still save him somehow in one way or another, even after reforging the promise. And so she's just frightened for him, and at the same time she's showing this fearless persona that she doesn't want the demons to be exterminated, that she still wants Norman to be saved. And so she asks, why are you afraid? And Norman is wondering, why do you think I'm afraid? And then Emma is saying, you look like someone who's like a trembling child. And that's a very interesting analogy, because in recent chapters, maybe around chapter 134 or 133, when Ray and Emma went to the entrance and they saw the Gracefield house, that illusion, they became children. And I think the reason what the author is trying to tell the readers is that if you're really scared, and if you really feel hopeless, and if you're really frightened, then all that confidence can just blow up away, or they can just go up in the air, and you will feel helpless, like a child, like a trembling child. Same here, that's happening with Norman. Chapter 153, the author is showcasing his talent and analogy in storytelling, that if a person lost all hope, and if a person really feels frightened or scared, then that person will be similar to a trembling child, a scared trembling child. And that's what Emma is trying to get out of Norman. She's asking him, what are you afraid of? Why are you doing so much annihilation at the demons right now? Why are you scared? And then Norman, in his mind, he's giving in. He has always been alone. Strange drugs, experiments. He doesn't know when it's gonna be his last day. He's been coughing. He has been getting these spasms because of the experiments and the drugs. He doesn't have anyone. There's this in chapter 128, I think, there's this cover chapter where Norman is alone being experimented. Many scientists and demons are looking at Norman as if he's an experimented cattle or an experimented animal, and that's inhuman. And no wonder he became frustrated. No wonder he shifted his tone from pure and kind to becoming twisted and dark and cold-hearted. And so his experiences in Lambda changed him drastically, going to lengths just to make sure that he accomplishes his goal in furious, fast ways, making sure that the mass production plants are destroyed or are eradicated, destroying the royal capital's family, or eliminating them. Like, he uses anything and anyone within his power or grasp to achieve his goals, even to the point of saying to himself, just a little bit more, you can fight, you can win, you can do this, only a little more, until he get to the point where everything is bloodshed on his hands. And then even saying to Emma, don't come any closer. That's how dark Norman is. Like, and what I really love about Kaio Shirai's mind is that the cloak that Norman is wearing, he didn't take it off ever since I think we saw him like around volume 13 as a hidden figure or as a mystery figure. He always had the cloak of the Ratri clan, and showing like becoming the false Minerva just to draw Emma out. Like, it's already a signal that his ways are not the old Norman's ways. Norman, in a way, died. Like his morality died up to a certain degree when he was shipped out. He doesn't want to die, of course, but for Emma, he will do anything. For his friends, for Emma and Ray, he's just gonna be. He chose to do it alone. And with this one, he's saying in this chapter, he's come this far. He doesn't have any intentions of turning back now. Honestly, I don't want to believe that this is the true or the real Norman. I was assuming before that maybe he's just a fake Norman, or he's just a character that's a duplicate or a clone or whatever because of the setting of this world. But I figured it out around volume 15 when Kayu Shirai and Pascal Demisu drew that terrible figure of Norman being like half god, half devil, and implying to the readers that he's gonna be the anti-hero or the anti-villain. It really shook me to the core. It's very difficult to hate Norman because he started out as a good character. He didn't start out as the anti-hero or the villain. He started out as an asset to the group. He started out as a good person, pure, kind, one of the main cast, one of the trio helping in the Gracefield escape arc. And then to come to this point, chapter 153, volume 18 or volume 19, I think this is volume 18. To come to this point, he has no way of turning back. He already said that in volume 15. Look at all I've done. Look at what I've done. I can't go back now. He said something like that along the line back in volume 15 when Sislo asked him, "Are you gonna turn back on this? Are you still gonna be the same boss we know?" And then Norman just replied, "Look at everything that I've done. I cannot turn back now." His inner monologue saying that Ray and Emma are kind people, but kindness is not enough to help them all escape in this world or help them survive. On one hand, he is right because he's right, and it's emphasized in the around volume 17 or volume 15 that yes, he needs to find a way to defeat the demons using probability calculation. Even Emma said that. But then Emma contradicted one of his arguments, saying that if we just relied on calculations, probability, and statistics, we wouldn't even have gone this far. We wouldn't even have be able to escape Gracefield. And that's the same thing that Emma is trying to deliver to Norman. She's trying to reach out to him that it's not the only way. Being reliable on calculations or probability or statistics or anything tangible in this world, it's not the only solution. And I believe that's something that I admire in Emma's character. It's because she sees past that, she sees beyond that. She believes in teamwork, in her friends, in her family, that with everyone's help they can all do it. And to be one more thing that I would like to point out, Emma was contradicted by Ray, because at that point in time in Gracefield arc, Ray is the one contradicting Emma with a narrow-minded point of view that there's only one way to escape. It has to be few. It has to be his way. Not everyone can be saved. He can only save a few people. And then that narrow-minded thinking, Ray, Ray had that change because Emma proved to him that things can turn out for the better if everyone collaborated on the escape. And I think that debunked Ray's theory, that Ray's narrow-minded thoughts that not everyone can be safe. I think that disproved him. That's my point. That disproved Ray's ideas, that his previous ideas were wrong. People can be saved up even though it's only gonna be the first 15 of them. At least they can be saved. He and Emma and the group can save more than 3 per people or 5 people at least. And what Norman is now was way back then, and what Ray was was, what Ray's personality show at the Gracefield arc, that's Norman's personality now. They switch or they flip personalities, and I believe that's something that I love about the author, is because he has these recurring themes happening on these main cast, the main trio, against Emma's beliefs. So in the Gracefield arc, Ray was contradicting Emma because of his unbelief of her. Norman was supporting Emma all the way because he loves her, and because he has a great mind, he was able to accomplish things to the detriment of his life, even if he becomes the sacrifice. Now, since Norman went through hell, through the Lambda experiments, he became cold-hearted, ruthless, merciless, became a killer, became a murderer. And that trait that Norman is showing now, that used to be Ray's personality trait back in the Gracefield arc. I think what the author or mangakas are trying to point out is that people can change because of the environments, because of the external environments that they are put in. So Norman has to adapt to the changes in his environment. When he underwent Lambda experimentations, he met new comrades, he met new friends who like twisted also his morality in a way. They supported him, but the fights or the battles that they're undergoing, it's completely going against Emma's goals. It's completely going against Emma's goals because the Lambda people, including Norman, they want to take revenge on those demons who experimented on them. But Emma, having experienced the love from Muhika and Sonju, having been saved by them, she understands differently, and so Norman is pulled in a different direction because of the external environment that he underwent or that he saw in Lambda, and also through the Lambda comrades that he gained. His actions and the direction that he took was completely off. But now I think with the author at this chapter, at this point, the author wanted to show the readers that atonement is possible, being salvaged is possible, salvation is possible, even if that person is at the lowest point. This is Norman's lowest point because he's sick. I think it's revealed in few chapters that he's coughing blood, tuberculosis, I think, because of the experimentations that he underwent through Lambda, that he and his comrades have little time to live, and so he's doing everything that he can to accomplish his goals, the demon annihilation, quickly, to the point of killing the royal capital demons. And so Emma just pursued, she just held on to Norman's hands. Norman is frightened, he's scared, his eyes are darkened. Really tells the readers that he went through hell, and he has seen the worst parts of hell in that Lambda experimentation plantation. And but Norman, he just listens to Emma, and mostly Emma and Ray, mostly Emma instead of Ray. Ray is also, of course, with Emma, saying, "Hey man, don't shoulder it off by yourself. Tell us what's happening." Emma is saying, "I want to walk alongside you, Norman." Ray is also following Emma's words, saying that we're family, we're friends. You don't have to be so reserved. We don't want a future where you end up suffering. I think it just showcases the friendship among the trio, and I really adore and love that about the Promised Neverland. From childhood, from the Gracefield arc, they started out as, hey, we're all in this together. Yeah, they're all in that together, but then sacrifices have to be made, like when Norman was shipped out. And then Norman, like when he returned in the sceneries, Ray asked him, "What do you want to do, Norman?" And so Norman just kept shoving Emma and Ray because he was saying to them, "You cannot walk alongside me. I'm a sinner," and something like that, devil, God, or whatever. And then saying to them in his mind that they didn't know what he has done. But Emma and Ray contradicted him, saying that we know the poison, the demon in the basement, we know what you are doing, we know the sins that you're doing. And so Emma is just cheerful. It's uncanny because nobody, like, even I myself, I don't know if I will be able to smile like Emma and Ray if I knew one of my friends and family just massacred like another race, or like a demon army or a demon royal capital or whatever. But Emma just pushes through. She just keeps saying, let's live on together, Norman. This time together. And finally, that one panel in chapter 153 where Norman finally like lift off his cloak and his eyes can be seen, and he just like wailed to Emma and Ray, hugging them. And with that panel scene in chapter 153, that little kid Norman is just tugging along Norman's cloak, and it's just a beautiful scenery to go through, like innocence, belief, friendship, everything here. And again, we get an emphasis, an inner monologue from Norman saying, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live with Emma and Ray, his best friends, similar to what happened on the first arc, where he was saying that I want to live, not just survive, but actually live with his best friends. That's such a beautiful scenery. And of course, as we progress through the chapter, we learn that Norman, he has been he's been sick. That's why he's been shouting. Maybe even in Lambda, he was shouting, "Help me, Emma and Ray." And there's the slogan at the end of the chapter: "His feelings overflow. The reality they are struck with is." And then that's how chapter 153 ends. I'm not going to. Maybe I can talk about a little on chapter 154 just because it's Norman, but again, like, it's emphasized in there that the best friends Emma and Ray, they want to reach out. They've been reaching out to Norman. And chapter 154 slogan: as long as the three of them are together, let's struggle together, let's lose our way together. I want that too. I want to live. There's this beautiful scenery where the trio are in their chibi form, or in their children forms, and it's just a beautiful expression of love, forgiveness, and friendship, that Emma and Ray can still forgive Norman despite what he has done so far at this point. And even in chapter 154, even if Emma and Ray already reach him, he's still overflowing with tears. He's saying that we can't live on, we don't have much time left because of the Lambda experiments that we underwent, and that's why he's been asking for help even back then. And then the slogan in chapter 154 is just saying he was always alone, concealing his emotions, the words he utters to his friends. I think that's one turning point for Norman. If he just opens up a little bit, with tears overflowing to best friends Emma and Ray, maybe he would have had a different experience in life. His morality would have changed, his life choices would have changed, how he approached the Lambda experimentations would have changed. Without Emma's guidance, he was lost, completely lost in becoming a god or a devil. And his choices are like sacrifice, his morality gone. And with that, I think that's one thing that I really do love about his character arc. If he is with Emma and Ray, had he been with them, even in the Lambda experiments, or if he had any kind of support, his choices would have differed. And I think I can reflect upon this a little bit, because another reason why I want to discuss Norman's character development first is because I can really relate to him because of his suffering, of his the idea of him being alone, concealing his emotions on his own, not opening up to his best friends or family. It really just changes the personality of that of Norman. His humanity change 180 degrees. I think for a character suffering within 2 years, seeing hell no wonder his innocence is gonna be, no wonder his innocence was taken from him. So it's very difficult, it was very difficult for him. So I think that's something that I learned in Norman's character arc, in between like chapters 153 and a little bit of chapter 154. It's because he has always been alone, and like I said, had he received the guidance of his true best friends, he would not have made the choices that he had made to annihilate the demons. But now, moving forward, I really know what's gonna happen because I'm already past 154. I'm already past chapter 154, but doing a reread of chapters 153 and 154, and I saw it in a different point of view. I completely understand where Norman's coming from. I completely understand what he might have done had he received Emma and Ray's compassion and friendship back then. I think the point that I'm getting is that a person, no person is an island. I think that's the peak of this arc here, with Norman. No person is an island. Even Norman himself, even if he was quarantined or isolated in Lambda, he still needed Vincent's help to get out of Lambda, to start a rebellion. He still needed Sislo and Barbara. They are all dependent on each other. Norman needed Zazie, Vincent, Sislo, and Barbara's help to destroy the Lambda plantations and get out of the plantation. At the same time, the Lambda comrades, Vincent, Zazie, Sislo, and Barbara, they admitted that they were using Norman's brains, Norman's genius, so that they can take revenge on the demons. And I think that's natural for the Lambda experiment group because they've suffered so much. They would use absolutely anybody just to have their own way so that they can take revenge on the demons. This is a fabulous series, more so as the series progresses because of the multiple characters, the character arcs, the storyline, the character development, the politics and religion that was put into this series after Gracefield arc just swoops off the chart because of the storyline and the plot development. I applaud the mangakas and thank them for doing such a wonderful series and for helping readers realize how important it is to have friends, to have comrades who support you even at your lowest point. So that's my review, my manga review for chapter 153 and a little bit of chapter 154 for The Promised Neverland. And I hope you appreciate my character analysis on Norman. I'm just saying out my thoughts here, what I think of his storyline so far, coming to chapter 153 or 154. I really teared up when I was rereading this chapters 153 and 54 for the second time because I was listening to Norman's theme, OST soundtrack, Promised Neverland 22194. That's the reason why I was tearing up, because I was listening to the music, but at the same time I was reading the comic panels, and it was just awesome, and it's beautiful. So let me know what you think. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye.